What's up, everybody? We're just gonna honestly just jump right into it. Jump right into it. It's been an insane week in the NBA in regards to everything that went down and what happened. So we're just gonna honestly start with the Timberwolves beating the Warriors in 5 games. After Steph Curry went down, I think everybody really expected it, but there's a couple things that I feel like should be talked about in regards to the Warriors team. Me personally, I don't feel that bad about what happened and how it went down. There's just a couple questions that are still lingering in the air in regards to that loss and what's going to happen for next season. And before I even get started into that, hats off to the Timberwolves. I thought that the Warriors were going to take this series. Obviously, without Steph Curry, that's not going to be the case. But that's not the Timberwolves' fault that Steph Curry got hurt. Tim's packed everything up. They didn't even give the Warriors a chance without Steph Curry, and that is exactly what they needed to do. So hats off to the Timberwolves for completing the job, doing exactly what it is that they needed to do, and not extending that series and giving the Warriors hope if Steph Curry came back for Game 6 or whatever the case may be. So hats off to the Timberwolves. Naz Reid, Julius Randle, man, holy crap, what a series he had. That is one of the very few times that I've seen that Draymond completely gets outplayed. He had no answer to Julius Randle. Every time that he closed out, Julius Randle would just storm right by him, right to the rim. Anytime that he let Julius Randle get 2 feet into the paint, it was a fadeaway. It was a bucket either way. So, not sure if that's a age thing with Draymond, or we're finally seeing like the actual decline for him. But that is one of the very few matchups where I'm like, damn, Draymond, this is not a good matchup for you. So hats off to the Timberwolves. They did exactly what they needed to do. And damn, I wish that Naz Reid was on our team. What a fucking bucket, bro. What a fucking bucket. Anyways, in regards to the Warriors, I think the question that everybody's thinking about or is posing at this very moment in time is like, what really does the future hold for them, and what off-season moves really need to be made? On the past couple videos that I've made in regards to the series that we've been going through, before I even get into that, Warriors Nation is completely shitting on Pods. Warriors Nation is done with Podziemski, and I am not on that wagon yet. I don't want to write him off. I think he's a really good player. He impresses me on the defensive end. I think he's a little inconsistent offensively. And Steve Kerr got on him right after the press conference, telling him that there was at least 7 shots that he should have not passed up. And I think everybody's in agreement with that. Where it's like, dude, if you're gonna be the backup point guard on this team for now, as Steph Curry is here, or like the primary 2 guard sometimes, like, dude, you need to start slinging some shots, and you need to start scoring. And I think that's one of the things that he's gonna work on this offseason. At least I hope that he does. Get that 3 ball a little bit more consistent, bro. Like, there was a lot of wide open shots that you missed, but everybody's kind of writing him off. And the reason why I'm not writing him off is because this was his first postseason ever in his career. So I'm actually not that like upset about his performance. Like, he's a 2-year player, 2-3-year player, and is for his first postseason versus a really tough team without Stephen Curry, right? So I think that Dub Nation is really putting a lot of pressure on him. I think Dub Nation needs to relax a little bit. He has been getting a lot of scrutiny for a while, honestly, So that's why I'm not writing him off yet. I still believe in him. I still think that he can do really well. Who I am completely writing off and who I am completely done with, truth be honest, is Moses Moody, bro. Can we please pack this guy up? Please get him off the team. I'm done with him. I'm done with Moses Moody. And I'm not trying to be funny about this. Is that, dude, if anybody's supposed to be getting the scrutiny, is him. Number one, he is a champion, right? He won with us in 22, I believe. I'm pretty sure. He's already like a 4 or 5-year-old player. Like, if Moses Moody was supposed to pick up the scoring drought without Steph Curry on the floor, or even with Steph Curry on the floor, He was supposed to be giving giving us at least 12 points a night, at least. This postseason, he was completely a no-show. I already had my complaints with him in the Houston series where he wasn't attacking Alperen Şengün. He wasn't taking the shots that he was supposed to take. This Timberwolves series, he was absolutely nowhere to be found. And you can tell that it's completely mental with him. Completely mental. His dip in his shot is super exaggerated. He's missing everything. I already have a compilation that I posted on TikTok about what all the stupidity and stupid ass plays that he made during that game that he was in. And I was like, dude, this is your moment to shine. But you know who did shine? Jonathan Kuminga. And I'm super, super, super stressed that somebody's gonna throw him the bag, bro. Somebody's gonna throw him the bag this offseason, and Jonathan Kuminga is gonna be done with the Warriors. And I know that he has a really good relationship with Joe Lacob. I understand that he has all of these things. But the matter of fact is that Steve Kerr did not develop that relationship, and I think it's pretty obvious that Jonathan Kuminga does not want to play for this team anymore. And I am really scared that this is gonna be like a James Harden 6-man thing where he was a 6-man in OKC, left OKC, and then became a MVP player. I don't know if Kuminga will ever be an MVP player. I'm not saying that, but it just sucks to see that it took this long for Kerr to see how great he is offensively, and honestly, shame on him for not being able to put a lineup together that fits him. I don't know if that's a lot easier said than done. I know that Jonathan Kuminga is not the best decision maker on the floor, but I think that's a coach's job to really put their best players in the best positions as often as possible. So that's where I stand with the roster so far. I still think that Trace is okay for now. Obviously, we need to get some size on the team. Jonathan Kuminga, I hope that he stays and he becomes a starter on this team. And Moses Moody, please leave. Thank you for your services, for whatever you have done for us, but goodbye, man. Goodbye. I'm done with him. Jimmy Butler. I think we have another year, or technically 2 years left with him. I'm not that upset about his performance. I know that he was dealing with a injury, and after he dropped that 30-point game with Jonathan Kuminga, another 30 points, and they still lost, I don't blame him for not having any more belief on the team, because damn, if I drop 30 and my man's dropped 30 and nobody else on the team is showing up, like, you could see, like, this is not a championship team. You got people like Moses Moody on this team that are supposed to be relied on, and they're not doing shit. So I don't blame Jimmy Butler for this performance. I know he was dealing with a lot of injuries. He was going to the paint. That matchup was just really tough for him too, and that's just what it was. I know a lot of people are kind of like done with Jimmy Butler and writing him off. I was really frustrated with him, but one thing that I am actually a little worried about is that Jimmy Butler really entered this season, or started this season, midway through the season, right? It was after the trade deadline. We got him, we acquired him, and they went full force getting that record and getting into the playoffs. And it was pretty much playoff game after playoff game since the trade deadline. The Warriors went through a lot. And still, Jimmy Butler really didn't play that whole season, right? He sat out with Miami a lot. He wasn't getting that much playing time. And he still ended up being really injured at the end of the season. Like, what I'm trying to say is, like, how can we really count on Jimmy Butler to be completely ready for next offseason or next postseason? Is that something that we can count on? And I mean, I guess I could say the same thing with Steph Curry, right? He's usually injured in some form of capacity. But this offseason, I don't think I've ever seen Steph Curry injured that much, right? It was the thumb. I think he was dealing with like a knee thing as well, the hamstring. Like, this dude was beat up all over, and I mean, that makes sense, right? Again, the gauntlet after the trade deadline put those players, they were on 100 every game. But Jimmy Butler is low-key injury prone, right? And I think that's just my biggest concern for next season. If we do have a really good squad, which we currently do have a good squad, right? Just by how the season ended and where we ended up on the rankings. Let's say the next season we just run it back. Realistically, we're probably looking at like maybe like a 6 or 7 seed, right? Or maybe 5, right? If we really play well. But does Jimmy even make it all the way to the end? Or do we just see something again like this happened this season? That he's just going to be a decoy out there and not being able to really take control of games. And again, right, I'm just saying that. And if Steph Curry's healthy, all of this is a different conversation. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it is and what it's really going to look like. But I think a lot of moves need to be made. QP needs to stay. I think that QP needs to be given a little bit more time, and he needs to. I want him to at least be like the 7th or 8th man off the bench. He's not the worst defensively. I know people think that he's awful defensively, but Kevon Looney didn't do that much better. Trace didn't do that much better either. You know, so and at least QP gives you a lot more offensive plays that you can run with, right? I think that putting QP in there with Jimmy Butler for the Timberwolves series was probably the best thing to do that, and Curtis didn't. So, all in all, that's really what I got for the Warriors and what that next season looks like. Let's see. I think Buddy Hield. I think he should stay. I think he earned this spot on the team, right? He saved us in that game 7 to get us to this round. So I think he did his thing. So, anyways. That's that. Moving on. So, the Timberwolves beat OKC. I was watching that game, and they completely took over after like the mid of the second quarter. Completely avalanched them. I'm not surprised though. I had OKC over the Nuggets, right? Aaron Gordon is dealing with that hamstring injury. OKC just has a much deeper bench, and this is not. I'm not preaching anything new, right? They just have a much deeper bench and a lot of better players. So I'm not surprised. The wheels really came off of the Nuggets, and did I say OKC and Timberwolves? OKC and Nuggets, right? That's what I'm talking about. They OKC beat them in that game 7, and yeah, and look, the only real thing that the only opinion that I really have on that series is Jamal Murray. I don't know, man. After like his big bubble performance, like I know he's like a all-star guard, you know, but like I don't know, man. Like he just doesn't. He's not that good in my opinion. Like he's just not that good. I feel like he's super inconsistent. I feel like he doesn't really play good defense, and I think the Nuggets will be way better if they have like a much more consistent scoring guard. You know, like I don't know. I think that Jamal Murray is the wrong fit for that team. And if I'm whoever the GM is for the Nuggets, I would honestly be looking at like, yo, what can I get for Jamal Murray? I would hit up Atlanta and be like, yo, can we do a Jamal Murray for Trae Young? What's the word with that? I think that Trae Young would put that team over the top completely. And I know a lot of people hate Trae Young. New Yorkers hate Trae Young, right? Fuck Trae Young, that's what we say. But Trae Young's a bucket, man. He's a great player. I would love to see Trae Young in a much better situation that he could really like show what he's about. But honestly, I would if I was the Nuggets, I would be looking at what can I do to replace Jamal Murray. He's just I feel like he's just not that guy. Aaron Gordon proved himself. Aaron Gordon dragged that team through all those games versus the Clippers. And Jokic is Jokic. Jokic is always gonna do what he does. Always gonna do what he does. So that's what I have to say about it. OKC is still strong. I think OKC is winning it all this year, especially now that they made it to the Western Conference Finals. And that leads me to my next point. We got OKC and Timbs and the Timberwolves. All right, before I even get into that, right, I was completely wrong about the New York Knicks and the Celtics series, which honestly I think most people were. Nobody expected the Knicks to get out of this, right? Nobody expected them. So when I say that I think that OKC is going to put belt to ass to the Timberwolves, obviously take that with a grain of salt because I've been wrong before. But I think OKC is really going to just put them out. And the reason why is because the Timberwolves, as good as the Timberwolves are, they're not that consistent, or they're not consistent enough to go against a juggernaut team like OKC. OKC has too many different ways to score. They have ton of plays that they run. They are a really great team, and again, it's going to take like Ant dropping 30 and Julius Randle having 20-25 on efficient scoring for them to keep up with OKC, in my opinion. I think this is gonna go to like 6. I give OKC 6 games to put this out, and then whoever comes out of the Eastern Conference, that's who they'll see. So now we got New York Knicks and the Pacers coming up, and I don't have. I just don't know what this series is gonna look like. I have absolutely no idea. Right? So on one hand, you have the Pacers, right, who beat number 1 seed Cavs in 5 or something like that. Yeah, I think it was 5. And I was talking about this earlier. I don't know if the Pacers are that good or the Cavaliers just fell apart. Right? Like, did the Cavs just fall apart, or are the Pacers actually that nice with it? I don't know. I don't know I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know. I saw a couple games and I saw the Pacers just steal those games that they weren't supposed to win. The Halliburton game winner, and then they blew out the Cavs. Like, the Pacers they look good. They look amazing. But I just don't know if they look like that because the Cavs fell apart. I cannot make that distinction, and that's why I'm so like shocked, or like I just don't know what to predict for this series. And the reason why this Eastern Conference Finals is so polarizing to me is that I feel the same exact way for the Knicks as well. I know the Knicks are good. Right? But I still am in that camp where I feel like the Knicks won the series, right? But is it that the Knicks are that good, or the Celtics really just fell apart? Like, which one is it, right? And again, I know that we won, and we're gonna face the Pacers. I know the Knicks are good, especially the last game 6 that we played. We really put our foot down, and that Jason Tatum game that he got injured, we had a great game that game. But I can't ignore the games before that where we were trailing 20 for 3 games straight. And just by the grace of the basketball gods giving the Knicks something, giving the Knicks fourth quarter superpowers, that we won both games at Boston, being down 20. That's just not reliable, right? Like that's not consistent enough. I just don't know if the Knicks are actually. Well, I know that they're good, but again, that just goes back to my point. I feel like both of these teams, I just don't know if they were actually better than the opponents that they just faced, or their opponents just fell apart. So that's why I feel like this round is going to be insane. Like, I have no prediction at all. I cannot tell you what I think is going to happen because I really don't know. I think ultimately, if I were to make a bet right now to see who comes out of the series, I would say the Knicks. Because I think that Jalen Brunson is better than Tyrese Halliburton. And if it's gonna come down to it, those are gonna be the biggest decision makers, right? The decision between both teams. On top of that, I think that Karl-Anthony Towns is better than Miles Turner. So if I'm just looking at it objectively, right, like we have the better players in this in the series. But I know it's a lot more complicated than that. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Game 1 is coming up. I'm not going on FanDuel because I literally don't know I have no idea what's gonna happen. But we might see Jalen Brunson just go off. The Pacers don't. I think the Pacers are just not that defensive. But we'll have to see what scheme they run. But this might be a big Jalen Brunson series. I think Jalen Brunson might just have like 20, 25, like every game. 30 points, multiple games. And one thing before I wrap this up, because these are the end of my notes. Karl-Anthony Towns needs to play the same way that he played that game 6 against Boston. Every game. The minute that game started, you could see that he wanted to end this shit. He was not playing around. That's the bodega cat that we need. That's the bodega cat that we need. That is a Karl-Anthony Towns, and that's the person that we need. Simple as that. He needs to go in there and he needs to start fucking slinging threes. The bro shot like 3 half-court threes last in that game 6. That's exactly what we need to see every game. Every game. I don't care if it's a bad shot. Karl-Anthony Towns, shoot the fucking ball. We need to see that every game, bro. Every game. So that's all I got for this episode. We got a lot of what ifs coming up, and the next New York Knicks and Pacers. I'll have a full game breakdown in regards to like what I feel like went wrong and went right. Plays, things that I've taken down, and what I feel I should move forward. So that's gonna be not in like a podcast form like how this is, but more of like a 5 to 7 minute video of just like certain plays that I've seen that I've noticed. But yeah, that's all I got. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Appreciate you guys, and I will see you guys in the next one.